Saturday night was really an example of where people get carried away with the hysteria of the crowd and the atmosphere and forget all about the conditions. And, you know, the conditions on Saturday night were terrible. I mean, if you brought your family along and kids and everything else, it's a very difficult ground to police and secure. The toilets, the dressing rooms, the corporate facilities are nowhere near the standard of what an NRL club should be. And the reality is if something's not done very quickly about securing Leichhardt Oval, we simply won't be playing here. And for all the good things that the journalists are writing about it, I'll show you some of the things from the same paper, for example, and the good things from the Telegraph. I can show you some complaints from the same paper about some of their staff who sat on the hill on Saturday night. And it's just wrong on every level. And we've got to do something to fix it. And one of the ways to fix it, you don't play games here.
Amazing scenes at Leichhardt Oval, no doubt. The atmosphere was incredible, but the CEO demanding funding immediately to fix the facilities. Feels like he's just saw a little bit of a window of opportunity here, Shane, to really press and try and get some cash. Probably the right time, is it?
No, of course it is. Look, I think it's a bit of a Trojan horse to actually get the Tigers out of there. You look at it this way, 14,000 here, you say how terrific it was. If you go and everyone goes, mate, 30,000 people in a 50,000 seat, it feels empty, right? But if you're the reality of the club, that's another 16,000 fans that have just paid to get through the gate. The corporate facilities are much better at the big stadiums, which again it brings you more dollars. So financially, the best thing for the Tigers is to get out of Leichhardt. That said, I was there Saturday night.
You're a member now, aren't you?
I'm a member of the Tigers. I was there Saturday night. It was on the hill, okay? 25 minutes to line up to get a beer. Now, that's just unacceptable. That's a quarter of the game. You're standing in line to get a beer. Yeah. Quarter of the game. And as far as Shane Richardson, getting some more facilities as far as getting some portable toilets, 15 minutes to line up to go to the loo, and you've got 25 minutes to get... Just start putting little stations around the place. It's terribly frustrating for fans, and I get what he spoke about. Some of the behaviour there, that goes on, right? That's footy. There's also certain parts of the hill, though, that are good. That are a little
certain
more
parts,
family.
Mate, it's all good. Most people who were there on Saturday night,
the story that he was referring to,
$55, Kenty, right?
Yes.
People were happy to pay, fans, happy to pay $55 for a ticket to stand on the hill. That's telling you something.
Hoops.
That is telling you that tribalism is alive and well. Well, my brother did. My brother took my kids, his wife, his kids. They had a great time.
I'll say a couple of my mates, Gordy, were there with their daughters.
Yep.
Standing on the hill.
Well, that's, you know, like
okay. And look, there was no abusive behaviour in the section we were at. I didn't see any of that in the section we were at. That's it. I do believe it goes on.
But how many people aren't taking
was a little bit how you go.
The young kids, the young
there
boys
was young
and girls.
Kids there. There was young kids.
But how many aren't because of the hill?
Well, that might be the case, but there's also, if you don't really want to particularly sit there, you can get in the grandstand, you can get in the concourse, you can get the Keith Barnes stand, you can do. There are other places you can take your family if you don't want to sit there. It's not as feral as what it's been suggested in some quarters, although it does happen. But as far as looking after the fan, the whole tribalism, the beauty of watching that packed hill and the fans just there in full throttle was wonderful.
Yeah,
but
there's some romance.
The fans are not getting looked after by the club, and Shane Richardson's right in everything he says, but Shane Richardson can also help it here and now by actually starting to put some facilities in there with portable amenities in terms of both service and the toilet facilities to actually help the fans, which would ease some of the frustration that people do feel, because you dead set go for a beer, you come back and they've got 10 minutes to half time.
Do they need to move on though? Is it about? This
is a disgrace.
It is.
This is a disgrace, right? That the Tigers want to move away from one of their spiritual homes, okay? And we've seen this radio before. You're rapping Richo and the performance that he's put on today. I'm not, because I've seen this radio before. When he was the boss of Souths, he took them out to a core stadium, and yes, there is a financial windfall.
After saying they wouldn't go out there.
There is a financial windfall involved, and it is a win for the club in terms of the bottom line. Well, I disagree, Braith. I don't think it is. And the reason I say that, they only play 5 games there per year, right? But there's also a lot of other women's sport played at Leichhardt Oval on a regular basis. And that was something that the Mayor of Leichhardt has made a point of really ramming home today. Leichhardt Oval hasn't had a lick of paint or any money put into it, to use his words, since Benji Marshall was in nappies.
So why is this? And why are they hesitant to put money into it?
Well, the state government's been prepared to upgrade various other stadiums. The federal government helped with
and there's no upside in actually coming in and funding it, because the government the governments don't need to win the seat. You can't. It's our Anthony Albanese seat federally.
Okay.
So it's not, you're not going to get rolled. So what's the point of putting money? That's the truth of it. Okay. What's the point of putting money in there?
I've heard you argue on numerous times that the grand final always has to be played in Sydney because of history and because of tradition.
Yep.
And for the West Tigers, a club that is often criticised of not having a DNA, of being lost, of being nomadic, of not knowing who they are, they need to play 5 games per year there and 5 games per year at Campbelltown and work the rest of it out.
Well, I don't know about Campbelltown because it's not anywhere near the atmosphere. Forget the love for the fans. But as far as that, Leichhardt Oval is a rare experience as far as going to footy. The tribalism that makes rugby league so great is there in bucket loads. And the fans are just, they're dead set crazy, okay? And it's like good crazy, but they are crazy. And
it's like stepping back in time.
It is. But the money's not going to be there. Yeah. But this is where the government needs to come in. But as I said, unfortunately, it's a very, very safe Labor/Green seat. So,
Well, what they've asked for today, they asked for 10% of the $309 million that's been allocated to Penrith.
And Penrith it's in the balance as far as the politicians go, right? As far as Labor, Liberals and the rest of it. So that's why it's crucial. That's why the money's going there to try and shore up votes for the next elections. But Labor, it's not going to happen here at Leichhardt because it's already safe.
But don't they have, listen, so Redcliffe come and play in at Lang Park, right? Can't the Tigers, on their bigger clashes, can they go play at Allianz? Isn't that a great team?
They go to Parramatta and play out there.
They've stopped that now.
Combank or...
But they were...
whichever one's the closest, whichever one people are going to travel.
Yeah, look, that's why I say I've seen this radio previously, Braith. My view is that I think Richo's got great contacts at Accor Stadium, existing contacts, and that's his play here. He's put a strategic plan to the board last week.
You don't want to play there as a player.
Well, it's soulless, Gordon.
Yeah, you don't want to play there.
They got 16,000 there. It was a sellout on Saturday night. If they play that game at Accor, it doesn't have anywhere near
I reckon you
the
get
level.
20,000 though. You won't have anywhere near.
But it doesn't have what you had, the electricity, the atmosphere of what Leichhardt brings.
But
Appy Coruscant,
if they have another 5 or 10,000 paying customers, and they have all the corporate facilities sold out that they can only get a fraction of there at Leichhardt.
All this corporate gobbledygook about money starts to bore me.
I'm giving you the reasons.
They are backed by West Ashfield.
They
are backed by West Ashfield.
I'm giving you the reasons.
They are 90% owned by West Ashfield, who are flush with poker machine money. They're not desperately crying out for money. Richo will want to make himself look good by showing the powers that be that look how much more I've brought into the bottom line. But if you abandon Leichhardt Oval, you are absolutely throwing out part of the West Tigers' soul.
And the West Tigers have more chance of winning at Leichhardt Oval too.
Absolutely.
Well, you look at the performance of Appy Coruscant on Saturday evening. Gets out of bed, right? Had shocking gastro, shouldn't have played. Goes out. He said every time we got within an attacking zone, he said the roar of that crowd, the atmosphere, the buzz that it gives you, it's a massive lift.
Now, a mate of yours, Brent Reid, he's got a different opinion on this, Hoops.
Yeah, he does.
The 8th blunder of the world. What have you got to say to Reedy over this?
No, I think Mr. Peabody's a disgrace for penning that Leichhardt Oval should have a bomb put under it and be blown up. He clearly, right, hasn't gone to the Royal Hotel on Norton Street, to the Gary Owen on Darling Street, to the Orange Grove in Lilyfield prior to the game and seen what it means to the community, right? Fans love, and it's not just fans who are our age, it's also young fans as well. I saw kids who I know who play for the Leichhardt Wanderers there, they all had an absolute ball. I saw families on the hill, they were having the time of their lives. There is something about the suburban venue experience that is special. And we need to maintain it. It can't always just be about money. Sometimes you have to pay homage to history and tradition.
Peabody is a disgrace. That's the quote of the night. West Tigers, outstanding. It's great to see the fans smiling and great to see Benji get his first win for the club.